And my camera looks horrible. Okay, what do I mean by we don't have to be a product of our experience? Or I know our environment, our surroundings. And this is something I teach my kids early. I got 7 children. And I've taught all of them that just because we're in this surroundings, this is only a momentary thing. If we learn to grow together, we'll be so much further in life together than we would apart. So, what happens when you're saying that and you're a baby thinking this? You're about 3 years old and your surroundings, everything is huge. You need help from everybody. Even at 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, you need help. You need help. Your parents are the ones that are to help you. They're the ones to get you in order. They're the ones to feed you. So everything that you have to do in life, up until the moment you can do some of these things yourself, you have to depend on mom or dad or grandma or auntie or big sister or little brother or whatever. You got to depend on them. Looking at this process yesterday, I went to, excuse me, I'm not sleepy. Wash that off. I'm not sleepy. I went to sign up for a school. I've been knocking on old doors. What does that got to do with me growing up in basically learning how to walk or learning how to navigate my environment? We learn through seeing. Your vision is one of the first things that teach you. And if you're blind, your hearing is one of the things that teaches you. You hear. When I was born, babies didn't open their eyes. Their vision wasn't 20/20. They didn't see color the first couple of months they were born. And things was pretty relayed on our hearing. What we heard, what we felt, who we dealt with, how they talked to us, how they treated us, and all of the above. It's amazing when a child is born. I'm not sleepy. When a child is born and we get to these points where a child recognizes that this is the same voice I've been hearing the whole 9 months I've been in the stomach. And I want to know who this person is. So when we're laying in that crib, bed, bassinet, or whatever we're laying, we start to open our eyes and recognize putting voice to face to voice, like that. And it's amazing because when we think about our surroundings, the first thing we do is we're visualizing our surroundings. What is around us? Soon as mom comes in the room, I know it's time to get up. I can hear her footsteps. I can smell her scent. I hear her voice. And it goes in reverse. Reverse is I no longer feel her warmth. I no longer hear her heartbeat, so I'm not laying on her chest. I'm no longer in the womb in the water where I can hear her heartbeat, and I have separation anxiety. So I begin to cry. I am taken out of my comfort zone. And we, as parents, we don't take this into consideration because, one, we're tired, we're exhausted. We're not only dealing with a newborn, we're dealing with our surroundings. Also, bathroom got to be clean, clothes got to be washed, other kids got to be fed, house got to be clean before the husband come home, and vice versa. If the husband's taking care of the child because mom has passed away or mom decide I no longer want to be part of this child's life, it happens. So in the interim of understanding that these things happen, we have to be grounded within that heartbeat, within that smell of that woman, within the taste of the breast milk. Had we even tasted the breast milk? I never tasted my mom's breast milk, but they made me into a sign that was grounded into many other things pertaining to that lady. And we're going to call her that lady because we can't even call her mom yet. We recognize her voice, her heartbeat, her smell. I don't recognize those things because guess what? I wasn't with her the first years of my life. She always told me, "You didn't suck my titty. I don't even know if you're my child." That was a repeated saying that she would say to me when I begged for love and attention, when I begged for forgiveness, when I begged for understanding, when I begged for her to be, see, and do more as a mom. And I recognized the coldness within myself with my 7 children. And it wasn't even the fact that they did not breastfeed, it was more on the fact that um, they would want this when it was at an inconvenient time. And what do I mean by that? Sometimes people want attention and the time is just right. Children want attention and the time is just not right. It's not that I don't want to give it to you. And so I learned this thing that I started doing within myself once I studied psychology. Didn't pass because, of course, I was diagnosed instead of passing. Um, I will stop whatever I'm doing. Excuse me, I need to speak to my kid, or my child right now is more important, or I need to give rest to this kid, or whatever going on. I started recognizing with my first set of kids overstimulation, separation anxiety, depression, shutdowns, and stuff. And I started adjusting environment, surroundings to them. My sister would walk into a room and she'll be like, well, she got the scented candle going, she got the dim light, she got the frequency music going. What my sister got going on? This child is overstimulated. He needs to be in this environment. He's whiny, he's crying, he's cranky. I done fed him, I done bathed him, I done combed his hair, I done played with him, I done rocked him to sleep. The minute I put him down, he's having separation anxiety, he's overstimulated. What's the next move? Let's find an environment where he's comfortable at. Some children, and it's funny because my cousin baby loves to listen to anime to go to sleep. It's not funny, but it's funny, like how you realize this anime. But somewhere along the line while he was in the womb, that's what she watched. That is what she watched. Frequency starts in the womb. For me, my babies listen to a lot of the Luther Vandross, Jill Scott, Whitney Houston, um, the Fugees, and stuff like that. So I always had these frequency babies, these babies that use their ears, understand what they were listening to, and their mood was set to the frequencies that they listened to. So in their surrounding, which was my stomach, they heard through the water, which water carries frequency, vibration, that hey, I'm good right now. Everything good. They're not yelling, parents not screaming, mom not fighting. Everything's good. A child that's in the womb that has severe anxiety comes from a place where mom is constantly fighting just to live. Mom is arguing every day just to breathe. Mom is anxious all the time. I had one friend girl when I was younger. I had my baby at 14. Me and this girl was pregnant together. Her name was Maria. And she was so anxious about having her baby. She was like, oh, I'm scared to push this out. My mom says this is going to be a terrible experience. My mom says this is going to split me in half. And she was just scared. So me and her became good friends during our pregnancy. And I would take her with me to the library. And I was a library kid. And I would pull up the little videos and we'll watch videos of babies being born. We would do this almost every other day or whenever I had time, whenever she could catch me, because sometimes I didn't have time. I realize now that I didn't realize then that I was a little thumper, meaning I'm always everywhere, anywhere, anytime. Like my daddy and them would be like, you was waiting over there? Yep. You was waiting over here? Yeah. How you got bus, jitney bus, because we had the jitney back then. So me and Maria would go to the library and we would watch babies being born. And then I would talk to my baby. And I noticed she wouldn't talk to her baby. I would go on dates. I didn't stop my youth because I was pregnant. I actually indulged myself in my pregnancy. And so in doing so, I found out that she was more embarrassed of being pregnant. I wasn't. I was more so like, y'all ain't got to take care of this baby. This is my baby. And I'm going to lie about my age since y'all have so much to say and y'all so critical and hypocritical is what I call it, hypercritical. And the reason it was hypercritical, because back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, a lot of us were being molested. A lot of us was having situations where our parents, girlfriends, or boyfriends was touching on us until we were old enough to be penetrated. So they kind of groomed us into hypersexuality, as they call it today. But when you read the history, it's not even called hypersexuality, it's sexual curiosity. And so, what is sexual curiosity? It starts at the age of 12. It doesn't end until you're like 25. You're curious into your sexual orientation, what you like, da 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 da. Bam. But as a newborn coming into the world, back to our point of view, because this is Healing the Mom's Womb Part 3. Um, and it's not healing her womb for her. This is healing the womb for us. This is for us. So we're out of the womb and we're looking at our surroundings. And like I said, we use three senses very well: our vision, our hearing, and now we're to the point where we're verbally, expressing our discomforts. Hey, mom, I peed on myself. I'm going to cry. I don't like this. I'm going to cry. Everything is a cry out for help. So our behavioral patterns start being shaped at this time. Our characteristics are being shaped at this time. How we handle stress, what kind of stressors that are around us. And so this is where they started coining in this day and age, this gentle parenting. But gentle parenting does not teach. Experiences teaches us. So we're at the stage where everything is new. The light plugs are new. The keys are new. Mom is new, dad is new, auntie is new, and every new voice that we hear is new, 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 new. And in the process of this newness, we had to learn to adjust. That's mom's voice, that's daddy voice, that's auntie voice, that's uncle voice, that's my cousins playing in the background, that's my siblings coming home from school, that's the dog, that's the cat, that's birds, that's the sun. Oh, we're on a walk. Oh, this is a new voice. Who is this? Oh, mom's talking to a neighbor. Um, all this is going on outside of the womb. In the womb, we can hear it, but once we enter the world, we can visually see it, and we can start putting one and two together. So as we're putting one and two together, we're becoming aware of our surroundings. But the surroundings is not the only thing that make us. Our environment doesn't have to be what make us. What starts to make us is decisions that we're making. Okay, I know if I cry this loud, she's going to come into this room. When she come into this room, she could be either two things: happy to see me, upset that I'm crying, or angry I interrupted her. We can't comprehend this. We're babies. Only thing we can comprehend is I need help. And we still go through this same pattern as adults. I noticed it in myself the other day. I'm in a live class. I'm on two different computers. One of my computers, I'm listening to my live class. The other one, I'm typing notes, and I need help when I get to a certain point. And when I get to that certain point, I go over to my little computer that I'm in the class with. I raise my hand. That's the first, I raise my hand. And I notice I tend to get ignored a lot. In the process of being ignored, I know I don't like it. So I raise my hand. I don't want to interrupt, but then the conversation goes on as if the teacher doesn't see me. So then I go to chat. Hey, I need help. That's my second. I need help. Hello. So now I'm making the cry a little bit louder because the first didn't get your attention, which was me raising my hand. The second is now still not getting your attention. So eventually there's a break in the conversation, and I hit my mic and unmute it. And I say, excuse me. And she goes, yeah, can I help you? I was like, well, I had my hand raised. I did the chat. And I just need to know, whatever my question was, which we was dealing with the reproductive system, I think, at the time. And I was trying to find out what was the medical code for an abortion and what type of abortions we were talking about. And as I asked my question, her moderator starts typing in the chat, and she goes, please do not interrupt the class. you can ask questions in the chat. And so I proceed to put the emoji up of me pointing to my question that was in the chat. I already did that. You just didn't answer me. And so she was like, give it time, allow us time to answer the questions before you interrupt the class. I said, duly noted. Thank you. I appreciate it. Then the moderator goes, I'm going to type the answer in the chat. I want you to look up in pages da of your CPT codes. Then I want you to look at your IDC, and then I want you to go back and I want you to look at the autonomy of the body and what's going on and the different types of abortion. And then I want you to write an essay about these different types of abortion. Boom. She answered all my questions at one time inside of the chat. Once she did that, I was quiet. I'm ready to finish on with what I got to do. Now, some children are not that easy to please. I've had them all. I've had 7 of them. And that's the reason I asked for the zodiac signs. What's the zodiac sign of mom? What's the zodiac sign of daddy? Because we are all learning from these different zodiacs or these different gods what we need to learn while navigating Earth. That's why I tell people it's impossible to have just one God. And why people think that we are gods, because we are. Your zodiac sign shows you are God up under that rising of the sun and that going down of the mother, which is the moon. And you yourself starts to represent the Father. And we don't get it because we're not putting the 3 together. We're not putting a Trinity together. Our Trinity that we learned was Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. On the other side of Father, Son, and Holy Ghost is the mother, the maiden, and the crown. And if you put them together, you end up getting 6 points of a star. Or if you put it together, you might get the infinite sign. Or if you put it together, you might get the yin and yang sign. If you put it together, positive, negative energy. So let's put it together. So as I'm sitting in class and I'm continuing to listen, then the live class is over with, which I've learned not to even attend live class anymore at this point because I feel ignored, I feel neglected, and I feel out of sorts. So at this point, I'm just listening to recordings afterwards. And I no longer attend class. So of course, they reach out to me. This is like my 3rd week in school. She reaches out to me, the instructor, and she goes, well, what's going on with you? And I was like, nothing. She said, I see you're doing your discussions. I said, isn't that what, part of the class? She goes, yeah. She said, I see you're doing your assessments. I was like, part of the class. And I see you're caught up on your reading. I said, yeah. She said, well, is there anything I can help you with? I said, no. So she goes, well, I'm reaching out. And I said, I appreciate that. And I noticed you haven't been attending the lives. I say, I understand. She said, could you tell me why you're not attending the live classes? And I explained to her, well, in the live classes, you have 35 people that are on the live in the chat on that Microsoft team class. And I'm being ignored when I need to ask something or answer something. I said most times when I'm in my assessments or I'm doing my external quizzes and tests, I tend to go through the whole book and I'm not finding the answers in a timely manner if the test is timed. Or if I do find it in a timely manner, I have to read the explanation and see if the explanation of the service is what the code really calls for. And she was like, oh, wow, you're very aware and intuitive to how you use your books and how you use your online discoveries and this and that. And I was like, why wouldn't I be? Like, this is the environment we're in. We're in a virtual environment. And I feel ignored. So I started doing my own thing that would best suit me. And these are called self-soothing children. This is the child that will put the thumb in her mouth or his mouth and they will suck because they recognize no one is coming to my rescue when I cry. No one is going to show up for me. These are the kids that save themselves. And I found out through one of my aunties because I was complaining about one of my children sucking their finger one day. And she said, that child's self-soothing. You're not attentive enough to that baby. When that baby cries, it feels ignored. And me as an adult can relate to ignoring one of my children. That's self-soothe. And I was in shock. I was like, what do you mean, Auntie? When he's hungry, I feed him. When he's sleepy, I rock him to sleep. When he want to play and he's up, I'm engaging. She said, but look at how many other things you got going on in your life where you ignoring this child. And I was in shock. I was like, oh, the fuck? So what happens? How does that look in real life? Let's put it in grown-up text, which I did when I talked about me being ignored in the virtual world in my live class. But let's put it into context of the household. Let's say you and your mate are together and your mate feels unheard. And I've experienced it on that level too, where I am the person that's making the other person feel ignored or unheard. And in my process of doing so, I had to understand that he feels this way because his mom has 6 children. And learning that his mom has 6 children, he had started self-soothing himself with anime and video games. And he's put himself in his mindset in a place where he doesn't need any human contact. He doesn't need love and affection. He doesn't need anything physical, anything verbal, anything pertaining to his growth, because as far as he's concerned, anime and video games has fulfilled that spot. And in learning this, I was like, you lost yourself in this because there's no human contact, there's no human this, but also I listened to his mom. His mom was, oh, he's that way because that's the way I am. Oh, I'm so angry and I'm so mad. That's the way I treat people. And I don't have time for this. And I don't have time for that. And I'm always doing for my children. But are you doing for your children out of guilt? Or are you doing for your children out of love? Because sometimes guilt and love can look the same, but they're not the same. So I noticed that in my relationship with him, he was accusing me of a lot of things. And so everybody around me was like, he got a lot of mama trauma. I said, yeah, he does. And he's looking for a mom. He's not looking for a mate. I said, yeah, I could see that. And so one of my friends was like, stop dating your assignments. I need you to stop dating your assignments. And I was like, yeah, I could see that. Hurt people navigate towards healed people because they need to be healed. Boom. Now, getting to the point of what do they got to do with my womb to my mom? That's that spiritual umbilical cord. That's that spiritual cord that you're connected to, that you think the environment you was in, which was water for 9 months, that you can go back to that water and heal. You can. But you don't recognize that yet because you've been severed from that surrounding so fast. And now you pushed into a new surrounding. And now all these things are happening to you. And this person is taking care of you. And at times they ignore you. And once you recognize you are being ignored, you start self-soothing. Either it's visual. So that means you're a kid that'll just tune into what the TV is saying. Whether it's auditory, which means you'll tune into whatever music or noise that's around you. I never forget, I had a friend. We were traveling. We went to Spain, and she told me she couldn't stay. And I said, why? She said, there is no city noise. All my life, all I heard was cars, horns, and talking. I was like, damn. She was like, I'm used to that noise. And if I don't hear that noise, I don't sleep peacefully. Or we do it verbally by crying out. We're the constant complainer. Hey, me, whoa, me, me. Hey, I need your attention, mommy. Hey, hello, hi, here I am. Hey, and we become the disruptive child. We become the aggressive child. Those that do it visually, we tune things out. We tend to shut down. We tend to not look. We tend to close our eyes. We tend to pretend like we're asleep. And the one that does it auditory or through the ears, it's the kid that says, I don't hear this. I don't want to hear this. I'm walking out. I can care less how much this is to help me. I'm not ready to heal. I'm gone. So that's the person that shuts down and leave the environment or surrounding that they feel is bothering them. So those are 3 different ways to heal. And then you have the person that heals through eating. You have the baby that cry, and as soon as they start crying, mom pokes the bottle in their mouth, poke the titty in their mouth, poke this in their mouth. And why you always eating? Every time I turn around, you got something in your mouth because your mom chastises you for that. It ain't a moment go by. You eating, you eating, you eating. But you don't remember, mom, you traumatized this child to eat. You ignored this child somewhere along the way, and they started picking up these habits of soothing themselves. So what I found out with parents, and this is why I disagree and I agree with the system. The system tell us once we have a baby, we got 6 weeks to heal and we must go back to work. I think a baby needs 6 months of mommy and daddy time to adjust to the new environment and the surroundings. And mom and dad need those 6 months to adjust the child, to even teach them what the surroundings look like and how they're going to navigate these surroundings. And in learning and doing this, we have to come to a bigger understanding that the child needs more than just being fed, being bathed, being entertained. The child needs you on a level higher than what we are able to give, because we don't know how to give that, because we never learned that, because no one teaches that. No one teaches this is a new being inside of another surrounding, and they have to get to know their surrounding. So what we do, we start off with routine. This is the routine. I know every day at 8 o'clock, this lady's going to come through this door, or this lady's going to wake me up, or this man going to come through this door, this man going to wake me up, he's going to pop a bottle in my mouth, I'm going to eat, I'm a shit an hour later, or I'm a boo-boo an hour later. They're going to change my pamper. They're going to paddle. Most people change the baby pamper when they get the baby up, but sometimes that doesn't wake the baby up. Because I had babies that I could change their pamper and they sleep through the pamper change, and they don't wake up until that breast, or they smell that breast milk, and that's when they decide they want to wake up. And so how does that look for mom? I need you on this routine. I got to be to work at this particular time, or I got to be here at this particular time, or I got to do this at this particular time. And breastfeeding you is going to take time, or bottle feeding you is going to take time. Or either I can hand this over to the husband, or the husband can hand it over to the sister, or whoever there is to help me. That's what's going to happen. You're going to get to know these different people, whether you like to or not, whether you're used to the surroundings or not. You don't have to be a product of those surroundings, though, when you are older, because you learn to put up those safe mechanisms, whether it's verbal, visual, through hearing, or eating. So let's talk about it. Please comment below. Give me yes or no's. Tell me your experience. I want to hear it.